Hey yo, this is your boy DD from the closet. I'm the DM who's in a closet. I'm in my closet, my wife's closet. I'm surrounded by my actual clothes and things that you shove in a closet. So tonight I was supposed to be doing a solo session with my boy, but yeah, he had an emergency come up. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna make a video about doing a solo quest or DMing a solo quest. Ain't that great? Today I'm once more drinking this is a Heineken Zero once again. Really, if you're going for an NA, it's kind of tastes like Heineken. There's a little bit of a difference there, but the lemon floating in there was from a prior NA. But anyway, enough about that. So let's talk about solo questing. How do we do the solo quest? Well, I got my fancy notebook here, my college ruled notebook, a composition notebook. How do we do solo quest? In what instance do we do a solo quest? Usually it's when a player requests to do solo. Very rarely do you do a whole campaign with just one person, but it's possible you could do that. Normally what it is that you're either trying to get a character. Perhaps it's a new character. Maybe someone's character's died and they made a new one, and you do a solo quest to just kind of get them, get the player familiar with what their character can do, and give them a little backstory and intro into the world instead of just dropping them in the middle. Like, hey, the guy in the corner of the bar, he's like, I see you've lost a guy. Let me tag along. Instead of doing that, you have something behind it. Or sometimes a player character in the party leaves to do some personal mission or something like that, and that does the solo quest. So in a previous video I spoke about the turtle who went off west and to have very many adventures. He's continuing to have these adventures. He's liking it so much he's delaying his return to the party. And we are now in our second kind of phase of this DLC, if you will, little add-on to the campaign. Literally a map add-on and all this other stuff. But how do we go about catering the game of D&D to one person? It seems like almost an act in futility. It seems kind of pointless, but actually can be some of the most rewarding and most entertaining play you'll have. And a lot of times, if you're the player of a solo quest, you enjoy it immensely and you're far more easily pleased, if you will. So DMs take heart. This is harder, but at the same time, it's easier because they're so excited to be there. Solo questing. So the first thing I would tell you all is to play to your character's, your PC strength. So, if the player character is a bard or, some sort of magic or like a wizard or something like that, don't throw him in a freaking melee zone thing where he's by himself and all, he's just has to blast real quick and like, don't touch me, don't touch me, and then they touch him and he dies. Don't do that. Don't mix match your PC strengths and weak, don't make it so they can't function in your solo quest, because then they're just going to get real pissed off real fast. I mean, if you're a fighter character and all the quest was about was magic or, diplomacy, and there wasn't a single fight to be had anywhere, it's not good. So play to your player's strength. Play to what they built their character for, and make it work with their backstory. Obviously, they're going off to do the solo quest for a reason. Play to it. Don't think that the world revolves around them. Just that's the easiest way to say it. The world revolves around them, and just make that happen. They're not like all powerful, but they're the person of consequence in this side plot, if you will. Second thing that I would advise, and this is always difficult because depending on who you have playing with you, you can either have someone who's bam, 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 and they just keep going and keep pushing the story themselves. Then you have some characters like, okay, all right, I go there. Okay, well, okay, I do that. Okay, well, okay, and you, I went on too long, but so you have this need to force conflict, if you will, or force the pacing. Don't leave a dull moment. Don't ever throw your hands up and say, "What do you want to do?" Unless it's that kind of, unless it's like an exploration sort of deal where there's a whole, which is kind of what I'm doing with this guy. He has this whole area, and he did his main thing he was going to do, but now he wants to explore. So you open up to it's kind of like the in-game plus, if you will. So, but typically, if you have a quest, keep the quest at the forefront of everyone of your player's head. Make sure they can never catch a breath. Basically, you'll be you'll be sorry, and the whole thing will grind to a halt the second you hit that. Well, what do you want to do next, or what do you think you should do? Never leave it that vague. If you're doing a mystery, don't ever just, unless you have like a hell of a detective or a go-getter, as your player, drop the action, drop the sequences of events right in the player's lap. Instead of the player walking into a town and someone said, "Did you hear about the murder?" "Yes, I heard about the murder." "Do you think they will solve the murder?" "I don't know. Maybe someone will come and solve the murder." Don't do that. I've had players that will like go out of their way not to pick up the bait. Some people will be good sports about it, but instead throw them into it. Have the murder not happen yet. Maybe they go into this place, they go into a tavern, and the tavern explodes. Just real over the top action that gets them personally involved. You have to make sure that they're personally being driven to complete their quest. Be that, however motive you need, whatever button you need to push, whatever motive, if you need to have them directly assaulted by someone, if someone in their backstory that their character cares about, are they being harmed, or, or is this a direct mission? It's like they need to go kill someone because of their revenge or something like that. But keep the action at them all the time. Okay, next thing. Simplify battle. One-on-one battles the dumbest thing, and unless you give them a bunch of NPCs, allies, why? Just don't do it. Unless it's something like really epic and it's like, if their whole quest was, "I'm gonna storm the gates of blah blah blah," and well then yeah, you have to have the storming of the gates, or unless they do a sneaky route. But other than that, I wouldn't put anything on a map. Do the whole battle, like we talked about, theater of the mind. Just have those battle challenges, and that's way more engaging, especially for a one-on-one, instead of the slog of, because like, what are you gonna do? You're either gonna have a lot of weak people that the character can just go swap, whap, whap, whap all dead, or you're gonna have just one kind of equally matched person, or you're gonna kill the guy. Because any more than like one of a decently strengthed enemy is gonna all of a sudden make it difficult for your player, depending on what their level is. But still, just keep it off the map. Keep that, it just grinds everything to a halt, and it makes more work for you. But keep the battle simple. Do your use those percentage die. I love percentage die because it just, it seems so fair, and they don't get used that much, and that's a shame. But use that. Use the most exciting tactics or battle events you can think of, and have them interact with that. Use your best tricks of battle, basically. So use the cavalry charge. Maybe they are ambushed. Maybe he has to run. Maybe it's a chase scene. Maybe he's chasing someone else. Keep the action fast paced. Keep it moving. Make it so they aren't just sitting there and taking it and all this stuff. And they'll get a real kick out of it. They'll enjoy it a lot more. They'll appreciate that you didn't try to kill them. Because let's face it, it's boring to fight a bunch of weak monsters that you can kill easily. It's boring to just fight one-on-one, unless it's like some epic, boss fight. But it's also dumb to kill your player because, you made it realistic. And I was like, well, he'd be facing 5 guys right here, so I guess he's dead. No. So keep the battles off the map that also lends itself to escape. You can much more easily get their character out of danger if you don't have them on the map and all of a sudden they have to move squares and they can't make it. Okay, they're dead. So simplify battle, keep the pacing up, keep it off the map. NPC guides. NPC guides, or partners, or proteges, or sidekicks, whatever you want to do. These are sometimes necessary. Someone to kind of guide your player character through the nebulousness of a solo adventure. Someone who can kind of say, hey, maybe we should do this, Someone who can pick up the pieces if the player is dropping them and isn't putting 2 and 2 together. Someone who can also start things. Maybe they're the reason, if there is something that you need to trigger, your NPC partner can be the one to trigger it because you have control of them. You can make them do whatever you want. Sometimes I like to give control of the NPCs over to the player. So, like this current one, the player is on a pirate ship, basically, or it's on a ship. He's on, and he's got a crew, and so he gets to control his crew and kind of deploy them as he wants. But they can die and all this stuff, and he lost a few crew members to a cliff, but that was funny and sad. I was rolling for all the crew members, and I rolled terribly, and they just kept falling. They just kept falling off the side of the cliff. So keep the NPCs will help you move the narrative. They'll help trigger events. They'll help get your PC back on track. If there was something that you seeded or it's something you gave as like a clue or something to, if I can say something a few more times, something. If there was a clue or like a mystery that you gave and they forget, the NPC can be like, hey, remember that thing? Yeah, I remember it. I'm here. I'm the NPC sidekick. Woohoo. Yeah, so have someone there who can kind of, he's like a safety net of the plot, of the story, basically. Another thing, enforce consequences. They make a bad move or a bad decision, it goes down that path. You can't have a solo quest go well if there are no consequence to their actions, be they bad, good, or indifferent. If the player goes and just knifes someone, like kills them outright and is like, yeah, problem solved. Consequences, please. There's a consequence to that. Now he's on the run. Now he's a fugitive. Now blah, 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 blah. People are chasing him. Don't just be like, and everyone was like, well, I guess we'll accept that. Enforce consequences. Make sure that they feel the impact of every decision they make, because that enhances the effect and the immersion of the play, as opposed to, just kind of I'm a god in this world and I can just smack around people as I see fit. So keep the consequences. Keep consequences. Keep the consequences. So, what is the point of a solo quest? And that's something we gotta discuss. And this is the last thing. That's the last thing I have. So, what are the reasons to have a solo quest? Why would this character go on this adventure? Well, obviously they're trying to resolve something, get something, or find something. And you can kind of say, well, get fine. A resolving thing, something in their past, something they left unresolved, and they have to go fix it. Simple. Be that killing the imposter king, throwing the mighty tablets of truth off a cliff or something. I don't know. Mighty tablets of truth. Why not? Why not? Why not? But something that they're doing to close out some, get closure. Close out, get closure. Yeah. To find or to get something they know where it is that they need to get it, and they're going on this quest to get it, and there's obstacles and all that. The MacGuffin, the classic MacGuffin. And then there's find something. It's kind of like to get something, but you don't. There's an element of mystery here. A voice calls out, and you're following, and you're trying to find what this is. Maybe you're on a quest to find some lost relic, and you don't know exactly where it is, and the whole side quest is to follow the trail that's gone cold for centuries. So or you could even have it be a personal, like, maturity find, like they find themselves. And then that kind of brings us to the more practical side of the point of solo quest. What do they get? Do they level up? Do they get cool loot, cool gear? Do they acquire knowledge? Do they acquire some cool lore knowledge? And that can be very rewarding for a character who likes to roleplay. You give them some info that the other players at the table don't have about the world. That's what I love. I love doing lore dumps on people in solo sessions. Because they're all like, whoa. Let me write it down. That was me writing it down. So it can be the sharing of knowledge, this lore exploration. It can also be you could find new patrons. Maybe they're on a quest of trying to find the arcane master to give them Eldritch Blast because they saw it and they thought it was cool, so they want to do it. Eldritch. I'll just blast them away. Blast off. So getting a patron, or just getting new powers. Maybe a wizard's going to find this ancient spell, fabled, thing. Maybe the patron is offering something in a less traditional warlock type way. I have one player who, in a solo RP session, made a deal with a powerful aboleth. And the aboleth is happy to share powers and secrets and knowledge with this character if he sends him regular tribute. And the tribute he likes most are spellcasters, wizards in particular. So this character has kind of well, he says he's true neutral, so I guess this kind of fits. But he sends this aboleth a steady diet of beings, basically, especially magical ones, and in return, the aboleth grants him gifts, and not in the warlock sense, but more just kind of like the kind of abilities that you would see, like racial abilities, kind of thing. He can speak Aquan now. He can talk with fish. He can. He has a good knowledge of the planes proficiency because this aboleth is one who is a plane traveler, if you will, from the plane of water and all this stuff. So different things like that. So So there always has to be reward for finishing the side quest, be it, leveling up, cool gadget, knowledge, power, or patronage, if you will. And that will give you a nice, satisfying solo questing, DMing experience. You just need to figure out what your player wants out of this whole adventure. How they like to play. Are they mostly fight? Are they mostly RP? How do they like to play their character? Play to that character's strengths. Don't try to kill them unless you're a jerk, a jerk face. Then keep the pacing up. Don't let the action slip. Make sure that all the players' actions have consequence. The more extreme the actions, the more extreme the consequence. And keep the battles manageable, quick, and off the map. Pretty much. That was my nice little wrap up of this whole video. So I hope you've heard something cool there, maybe, or not cool, but hopefully something that at least gave you like, that's a good point. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Yeah, so this has been DD from the closet. If you like this video, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Comment something, let's chat about something. Don't hit the dislike button because that's just rude. But yeah, I'll see y'all later.